Well, hello, everybody. Mr. Bowman.
Hello, Mr. Viola. How are you, there, young man?
I think I'm okay.
I was about to say, look at you with that nice little hairdo.
I'm
Hey,
sporting a new coif. Thank you very much.
as I told you the other day, my buddy Ryan at the labor at one of my jobs used to say, "Nice haircut. Where'd you get that? A Taster's Choice?" He used to say that makes everybody freaking. He was a lunatic, that guy. Good
Hi,
for you.
everybody. Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. You all back.
Feels so good to get a haircut, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel like,
Well, yeah, like it was.
oh,
It was like forever. I'm
well,
sure
the back
everybody
of the
else
old
did.
neck getting a little bit of fur on there, looking like a raccoon or whatever. Hey, not
Yeah.
good. Not good.
So, welcome to the program, and welcome to month 4 of the Great Ontario Giveaway Getaway
Good Ontario, G-O-G-G,
Giveaway.
GOG. Just say the GOG.
The GOG,
GOG.
GOGG. How's that?
That's it. That's it, buddy.
We got a
That is
ton
it.
of things before we get into the meat and potatoes, which is why I'm sure most of you are here today. Let's talk about some of the stuff that's taking place around here, Pete.
Well, we could go to our, we've had a pretty busy month since we last talked on the website, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
let's do that.
yeah, let's go through some of that stuff. I think, wow, we got a ton of stuff that came up. But so we picked out some of the articles or pieces that we thought were pretty interesting. Starting, we'll go right to the earlier in the month or halfway through the month. Sharks in the St. Lawrence River. We got a writer, Dean Taylor, who's he's a great little writer. I'll tell you what, and a very keen angler. But he brought this article about, are there sharks in the St. Lawrence River? And I think it's a very interesting piece because let's be honest here. I mean, there's access from the ocean up the St. Lawrence all the way. And sharks, especially a bull shark, can store salt water in its system and go into fresh water. So it's a good little piece to read. It's kind of interesting. Are there? You know what I mean?
Actually, I've been watching, as I'm sure a lot of you have, this whole Shark Month that's going on right now on the Discovery Channel and network. Some fascinating things about shark that I didn't know. I mean, Pete just mentioned the bull shark that can do whatever it does. It can live in fresh water for the simple reason that it can't. By the way, it can't live there forever, but it can sustain fresh water for long periods of time because of its biology. It's able to deal with just like some fish are able to deal with salt water on a part-time basis. The bull
Right.
can deal with freshwater on a part-time basis. But in keeping with that, as I'm watching that, and I know this article that Pete's referring to that I read from Dean, I'm thinking, I wonder how many people in the province of Quebec and most of the Maritimes in that particular stretch of the mouth of the St. Lawrence realize that not only are there sharks there, but there are a lot of sharks there.
And
It's not just the odd sighting. There's a
they probably
lot of
catch
sharks
them.
in that
You know,
water.
they probably catch them the odd time, like an incidental catch. I mean, you might not even hear about it. You know what I mean? And because out here we might just say, whatever. But it's a reality. You know what? And like anything, the evolution that takes place. You know, there could be a day when there's sharks swimming around in Lake Ontario that somehow they've adapted to fresh water, and you never know, right? I mean, you never know with
There have been reports of that. I mean, they weren't proven, and there have been reports of two that in particular, that I remember reading of sharks in Lake Ontario. Obviously, nothing that was concrete enough to prove without a shadow of a doubt. But there have been sightings, supposed sightings. So it's not out of the question.
yeah.
It's not out of the question.
That'd be so cool. I'd love to be the first guy to catch a like on. Well, maybe not the first guy, but I'd love to be able to document
And
a
by the way, I don't know whether you're watching the Shark Week stuff or not, but I'm
little bits
glued
here
to
and
it.
there, little bits.
Every night I've got a bit of it on that I watch. An
Yeah.
interesting program was on 2 nights ago, I think it was 2 or 3 nights ago, about the orcas now in
Oh, I
in
saw.
both South Africa and in Australia. Both places that Pete and I, by the way, have done cage dives for great whites. But in both of those areas,
I know
now
where you're going.
orcas have shown up that have never been there before. and their main prey is great whites.
It's not the great whites; it's the liver of
The
the great whites.
liver of the great whites.
Think
Did
about
you
how
saw that?
complex that is. That is the most amazing. They're seeing dead great whites with this hole where the liver area is. These orcas know where the liver is, and they know it's a delicacy, and they're kicking the snot out of these great whites.
Wow.
Like, and it's unreal. That's how they team up and they work together as a pod to take down these sharks. And then when they take one down, when that little bit of scent of that liver is out there, all the great whites leave. Gone.
Wow.
Like they're gone for miles upon miles upon miles. So pretty crazy. Nature is so friggin' awesome. I love it. Like, I mean, it's sad to say something, but you know what I mean? You know, we thought that great white was the big boy of the whole of the game. No, he isn't.
The aquatic world is just fascinating. That's why we
Yeah,
love
yeah.
fishing. That's why all of
speaking
it
of which,
right?
And speaking of which, another article that Ange and I put a lot of time into this one, structure versus cover, our top 10 types of structure and cover. And in that piece, you should really go in there, people, to check this out, because we brought some old slides that Ange had from a long time ago. Ange and Reno had for years ago, just showing the basics of how fish react to different things. And then we based it on that, on, of course, all our fishing experience and all that. And it's very hard to, if you said, hey, Ange and Pete, give us 7 forms of structure, literally structure, it'd be hard for us to come up with that because there's a very set definition for structure. And the article says a lot about what's in there, but I think you'd be surprised at some of the stuff in there. Some very cool graphics and, you know, what we look for, what we consider structure and cover, the differences. And you know what? These fish, I mean, I'm telling you what, fish use structure and cover like we use this building, for instance. This is our cover for our daily workplace. You know what I mean? We eat at a certain place and all that. The fish do the same thing in a sense. So this article really gives a good lowdown as to what we base our structure and cover on and how we work it.
And I think once you start applying some of the basics, first of all, understanding the differences, the subtle differences between cover and structure. I know even to this day, a lot of us are confusing the two.
Absolutely.
And myself included, by the way. There's been many times where we've caught each other saying, no, that's not. And then we debate it and we argue about whether it's cover or structure. So I did a bit of research when we were doing this top 5 article. I did a bit of research on what is the definitive explanation for structure versus cover. And I found some great stuff. And one of the simplest ways to articulate structure is that if you can see it on a contour map, for example, if it's on one of the Navionics maps or whatever other contour maps that you're using, chances are really good it's structure. In other words, it's a difference in bottom contour. It's part of the contour lines, right? If it's not, then chances are real good that it's cover. Mm-hmm. So like a weed edge, for example, it might look like structure because it's a defined wall. 12 feet of weeds. That's looks like a contour line, but it's not. It's cover. So subtle little things like that. If you can start putting that into your daily fish thinking, it will really change the way, not necessarily the way you fish, but where you fish. And where you fish is probably the most important part because you can have all the best tools and experience and knowledge and equipment, but if you're fishing where the fish ain't, chances are you're not going to get them. And structure and contour is what.
And that weed line that Andrew is talking about will not show up on your Navionics app. It will not show up on your Garmin. Even if you do quick draw on your Garmin, on our Garmins, we run a quick draw, run our own maps. You still don't have a weed line on there, right? You still have only the structure on there, the break lines, the humps, the bumps, whatever. It just shows up, but it doesn't show you weed lines. So it's very cool.
I got to interrupt you because I'm an idiot. I've got a small, little, shallow mind. And so when I see stuff like this, I have to point out. Dan Carroll says, I don't know why he's saying this. He's obviously answering to somebody else, but every time I see this line, I laugh. I got a Prince Craft fishing boat for my wife. I think it was a good trade.
Dan, you're the man for even putting that out there. Maybe you're not married. Maybe it's just a good one, or she'll never see this. But that's pretty damn good, I got to say.
Oh my God!
Uh, and moving on quickly, we got our top 5 Canadian bass lakes. We went across the nation for that one, Ange and I. It's been up for, I think, a little while, but we'll give you our opinion on that. It's, it's just, and these things are all our opinion when it comes to that kind of stuff, any lakes, etc. It's just Ange and I saying, some of these lakes. Another story that came across us real quickly is the pickerel. The pickerel debate. We kind of said, will the real pickerel please stand up? Because a buddy of mine, Mikey Burris, Ange knows him very well too, caught a chain pickerel out around the Kingston area, in the Kingston-ish area. And he sent me the picture, and I said, buddy, can I put this up into an article? And he said, yeah, absolutely, go ahead. And he didn't even really, it was his first one. He's fished that area for his whole life. It's Mike's first one. Angelo caught one years ago in that same area. We started looking into it, and we started seeing these documentation of different pickerel in that area. And then again, in there, we got into a little bit of the pickerel versus walleye. And that is a true pickerel. That picture, you're going to see that on there. That is the pickerel. The walleye is the walleye. And when you call a walleye a pickerel, it's just a nickname. That's all it is.
But you doesn't have to call me Mr. Johnson.
You can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay, or you can call me Ronnie, or you can call me Johnny. Like that doesn't have to call me Johnston. I love that skit. So there's our top 10, Ange Pete's top 10 soft plastics. If you're ever looking for, it's sponsored by Ram Trucks, by the way. Thank you very much. If you're ever wondering what we like to throw for soft plastics, we've got some tried and true that we've done forever, but we've also got some new stuff that we really, cut our teeth with. Let's call that. Best largemouth bass lures, one of Angelo's Bass Smart pieces. We thought we'd bring that back because it's right in the middle of bass season right now, and the largemouth is starting to pick up again, or maybe slow down again. Depends on who you are, where you're fishing. It can be to me, largemouth bass are the hardest, one of the hardest fish to catch. Big ones. Everybody's gonna say, "You're full of crap, Pete." I'm not full of crap. You're gonna try and catch a 5-pound plus largemouth. That's a tough fish to catch. You agree or no agree on that one?
I agree with you 100%. A lot of people mistake them for 3-pounders, but I wanted to just go back quickly to one of the stories that you talked about with Mike Burris about the pickerel in that Kingston area. If for those of you out there, if you have any more information you can help us with on this, if you've got either friends or yourselves that have made contact with pickerel in that North Shore, Kingston area, just open to Amherst Island, that whole gap that goes out into Lake Ontario, let us know, because it'd be pretty interesting to start putting together some statistics about this species, because it's not that common. I don't even know if more than, maybe 1 or 2% of us have ever even seen one of these things. We know that they're here, but they're very rarely caught. And I wanted to add to that day that I caught that pickerel in the Kingston area, I also caught the very first crappie that I'd ever seen there.
No kidding.
It was almost back to back. It was kind of weird. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We fished that area a lot. Just going back to that, and Ange has caught one. Mikey Burris has caught one, and I've never caught one over there in that area.
There you go.
So that tells you we put a lot of time in there. They're very incidental catches, but they are there. They are around. So, and look just like a pike with or some people mistake them for a tiger muskie, et cetera, et cetera. It's basically in the Esox family, the same family, but it's got their pattern on the sides look like a bunch of little chain links. Is what it is.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Very cool fish.
Very cool fish.
Very cool fish.
Another recent story we'd like to just focus on here for a moment and urge you to go read, because I think it's important for all of us. The story was titled "The Red Tide," and it's about an abnormality in the Tampa Bay area that I think was about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. And it wreaked havoc on the fishery there. I mean, just tons of fish dying. And the red tide is an algae bloom. Very little known about it, but it happens in certain areas. And it was kind of an interesting story that we threw to, because there's so much about aquatic places that we just don't know about. And we like to theorize and based on our own personal experiences, sort of suggests that perhaps certain things are happening, but at the end of the day, there's very little. This whole orca eating great white livers, this is brand new. This is something that was just discovered. So we're learning this stuff every single day, and this story is certainly one of them.
How much don't we know, right? That's the thing. But how much do we not know about the sport of fishing and the fish species that we're fishing for right now? There's a ton out there. Speaking of tides, buddy, why did the lady wash her clothes in tide?
Not sure, Pete. Why?
Because it was too cold to wash them out tide. Booyah!
All right. Good
one. That's a dad joke right there. That's a dad joke right there. I just gave that to my buddy Sean Gleason. He used it on his family. They said, "Oh my God, Dad, not another one."
All right.
Oh God. Hey, come. Let me just say that one last article because this one's really important. The stop releasing your pet fish into the wild. It was found. I think it was down in Minnesota. They were finding these big goldfish in ponds, which now can connect to lakes, et cetera, et cetera. Just a word of caution to anybody out there. Do not release your aquarium fish into the wild, anywhere into the wild. You need to basically kill them and dispose of them is what you need to do because it is illegal to drop these fish anywhere else but in your aquarium. Okay, and then everybody feels, oh, you don't want to kill my fish or whatever like that, but it's getting too big for your aquarium. You are screwing up the ecosystem by putting goldfish, koi fish, anything like that into the wild. Okay, it's not natural. It is illegal. It's the same thing as transporting walleye from the lake to your house alive in your live well. It's illegal because you could drop that walleye into another body of water. So you got to be careful with all that kind of stuff. Please do not release your aquarium fish.
In as much as I totally agree with that, you know that. I totally agree with what you said. There's a little bit of hypocrisy in that whole piece of dialogue that you just shared with us. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. We're the first ones to stick up for I'll give you a good example. The province of New Brunswick a couple of years ago was trying to, and they may still very well be trying to, I think they are, to eradicate themselves of an invasive species that all of a sudden appeared in their waterways, and they deemed it to be dangerous to the aquatic life that lived there prior to them. So they went on a campaign to try and eradicate this species from their waters. And the species was muskie. So when people from Muskies Canada heard about this, and anglers like ourselves heard about it, we were all up in arms saying, what are you, crazy? Eradicate muskie? Are you out of your mind? You should be thanking the Lord that you got muskie in that area. The reason I say that is because we have invasive species here that we currently have been enjoying for well, one or two of them for over a century, but they weren't always here. So we have to be careful when we talk about eradication, removing, not putting in, don't introduce, because we also have to accept the fact that if it's something that we like the muskie, we don't feel that way.
Yeah, but we're not saying that. This article is not saying that. It's saying that's a whole different ballgame. What we're saying is don't transport fish from one lake to another or one place to another, and don't throw your aquarium fish into the wild. That's all we're saying.
Right. And also saying that you need to kill. You made a very good point. According to the law, you need to, every fish that you take home from a day's fishing that you're going to consume needs to be dead. Correct. If it's alive in your live well, you're breaking the law, and you could be charged. In fact, we have heard of tremendous fines for stuff like that. So you really need to be aware of it and careful. But yeah, there's some big goldfish out there for sure.
Oh, I saw it. In this article, you got to read this because it'll link you to another article. Well, I saw a koi fish in Halliburton Lake, and this koi fish wasn't your little koi that swims around in the Mandarin aquarium there that you see those beautiful little things. This thing was giant. It was, I'm going to say 15 pounds if it wasn't an ounce. It was that big, and to the point I said, oh my God, this thing is, and it wouldn't bite because it's a koi fish. So I tried to catch it, and it wouldn't bite. So I called the MNR, and they brought nets up the next day, but unfortunately the thing got away. But it probably died through the winter anyways, but they said, this fish should be removed if we can. So
There's an interesting question on the screen right now that relates to what we're talking about from Cypress Blue, wanting to know how bad are zebra mussels now. And the reason that question is being asked, because of course it wasn't that long ago. We had never even heard of zebra mussels in this part of the world, and then all of a sudden it was the invasive species du jour. It was everywhere, and we were terrified. I mean, the sky was falling when zebra mussels were inadvertently introduced into the Great Lakes, and they spread like crazy. I mean, they literally went. I think within a decade, they went from 0 to 100. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to answer the question, and of course, we thought it was the end. Sport fishermen like ourselves thought it was the end of sport fishing. It was going to completely destroy our recreational fishing. But it didn't. And everything kind of settled down after a few years. We started to see that in fact, it was starting to be, it was put on the menu for a lot of our game fish that started eating zebra mussels. The shoreline commercial businesses that were initially impacted by, or even intake for hydro plants, for example, were severely compromised by zebra mussels. They've all redesigned, and through the zebra mussels efforts, they've had to come up with different ways of thinking discharge and intake water from the Great Lakes, which in the long run are better for us anyways. So the zebra mussel was beneficial in that sense in helping redesign some of those water intakes. The end of the day, it now is very much an important part of the whole ecology we've got in our marine life. It's food. It's worked its way right in there. It's food. So as I've always said, we hate some of these invasive species. We hate them, the thought of them coming into our space. But at the end of the day, Mother Nature looks after herself, because this has been going on for 1 million years. Think about it. Everything that evolves has been in somebody else's space eventually. And so it definitely is something we don't need to worry ourselves with that all that much. Nature will take care of things. All right. I've been told that we need to move on by the way, very tactfully done. Been told that we need to move on. I guess we're running a little bit late, Pete.
Okay. I guess maybe we're boring our team here. Are we boring our team?
Yeah, they're boring our team because our team really doesn't care. They want to know what we're going to do about what we're here for, and that is the contest. So
the Great Ontario Getaway Giveaway.
But you know what the beauty of this is? We don't have to listen to any of them.
Good point.
Right?
Good point.
We do the rule making here. So
true enough.
Let's move on at our own pace, shall we?
Let's move on. I see Calvin's in there. Calvin, I hope your health is well. I think Calvin might have to go back to the hospital or something. I saw a post, and maybe I'm mistaken on that, Calvin. Hopefully you're well.
Yes.
He still doesn't even say anything about it because Calvin's a tough old bugger. But hopefully, all the best to you, Calvin. If you have to go for more tests, et cetera, I'm not sure of that, but all the best to you.
All right. Before we get to this month's 5 winners, because that's where both Nikki and Jordan are panicking right now because they have them on the line, I guess.
You see, they have a point, because if they're in the waiting room, then they have a point. Then,
what else are you going to do on a Friday, for God's sakes?
Well, some people got to work.
Chill.
Not everybody has a great boss like you. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Peter. By the way, did I tell you how lovely you look today?
Well, thank you. I got my hair cut too. It's not quite as nice as yours, but it's a little shorter. But thank you.
All right. Yeah. Before we get on to the contest itself, I have in my hand a letter from one of the previous month's winners that just came back from a trip. Of course, we try and post this stuff on our website. As all of you that are going and returning from these trips send us information, we'll put it up so everybody can share in your stories. But this one I'd like to read because it has a lot to do with what we're about to talk about here in a moment. It's from Ian and Nancy Lee, who were winners in the very first month of the Great Ontario Getaway Giveaway. And they go on to say, Ian and I, so this is Nancy writing, Ian and I would just like to take the opportunity to thank everyone at Fishing Canada and Noto for the wonderful vacation we just had. And by the way, it's not just Fishing Canada. Let's not forget that Ontario Tourism played a major role in this. Destination Ontario, Destination North Ontario were huge in putting this together. But anyways, by the luck of the wheel, we ended up in the most beautiful part of our province, and that is the northwest corner. They drew a place called Rainbow Point Lodge. And so they were able to visit with family along the way. They had family in Northwestern Ontario, obviously. We even stopped in Kenora to see a family keepsake that was proudly on display at the local museum. It was truly a very special trip. They go on to tell us about they caught more fish. They lost count of the fish they caught. They went on and on and on. The reason I bring this up is that Nancy and Ian wrote to us when they first discovered where Rainbow Point Lodge was, and they weren't exactly happy with the trip that they had won, because it was completely as far away from where they lived as you could possibly go in the province of Ontario. So they were a little discouraged with, the amount of time it was going to take and the efforts that were going to go into it. And could they, either change it, or maybe could we do something? And bottom line is they wanted to make alterations to their trip. And we, of course, couldn't. Told them so, explained to them that, they need to give themselves an opportunity to experience that part of the world. And go on this trip and enjoy it. So anyways, bottom line is they had the time of their life, and it was a life-altering experience for both of them, which is fantastic. And we were tickled pink to hear back from them. We've heard back from lodge owners. Another one, Vermilion Bay Lodge, who is the host for month 2 winner, Rob Wilkes, and his dad, who decided they were going to book in 2022 as opposed to this year, partly because of the fires that are going up in that area. But Gord, who owns the place, wrote to us and said he just wanted to express his gratitude for being a part of this wonderful initiative. I think it's a great opportunity on several fronts. Of course, the whole COVID deal has put many lodges into a financial bind, and this at least is an important gesture on your part to try and help out. We appreciate the support, both financially and, more importantly, to have you step up to help out. It's also a great way to expose our industry to new guests from Southern Ontario. And he goes on and on and on. And I wanted to bring both of those up because before we talk about this month's winners, we want to go over some of the things that maybe Pete, would I be safe in saying we're disappointed in?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Why not?
So not a lot. And by the way, I shouldn't, let me take that back. The majority of you who have won trips are tickled pink, and you're absolutely knocked out at what you won, and no complaints from our part at all. But the odd one we've had to deal with, which was kind of disappointing, but in the long run, we were able to work our way through those issues.
Yeah.
I think, though, it's important that we remind folks why we're all here, why we're doing this, because I think throughout the contest, we've lost sight of this important factor.
You got to remember too, and it's just that is the ultimate problem with a contest. Let's say people are trying to win, all of a sudden they get a different mind frame. They don't start thinking about why, the whole depth of it. They think about, I gotta win. So go ahead. Sorry.
So when this contest was being put together, Pete and I were brought in at a certain point to give our opinions on the design of the contest and whatnot. But what we found really particularly difficult for us to get our heads around was the legal element behind the contest, and the do's and don'ts, and how, to what extent rules and regulations have to be designed in order to keep contests like this on the up and up, and being able to run from beginning to fruition without too many interruptions. We thought, it's just a contest. We're giving away some trips. How bad could it be? Well, thank God we had legal people to advise us on the design of this thing, because we're discovering just how bad it can be. One of the things that, not by our design, by the legal team's design, one of the things that was entrenched in the rules and regulations, and for those of you who have taken the time, and I wish everybody would, you know what we're talking about. The rules and regulations of this contest are designed in a manner that we can literally do anything we want. And I mean that. If you read the rules and regulations, you'll see that if we notice anything irregular, if we notice something that's not in accordance with the intended purpose of the contest, we can just change it. I want you to keep that in mind as we move along here. So, two purposes of the contest: to help the North and to possibly expose people who otherwise would not be exposed to the great wilderness adventures that the rural part of Ontario, particularly the North, can give you, to help expose as many of those folks as we possibly can, so that they'll try that first time and hopefully get hooked on it and start using the resource, start sharing it with their family and friends. That's the intent of the contest. If you thought anything other than that, you were wrong. That's what the intent of the contest is. Promote the North, see if we can help operators who are struggling during COVID, and open the North up to folks who might otherwise not get an opportunity to experience it. I'm not talking people who don't fish or hunt or enjoy. I'm talking people who fish, hunt, and enjoy, but for whatever reason, are limited to their experiences in the outdoors. It doesn't mean that if you're experienced, you can't win, because as we've shown, you can. But that's kind of the intent and the purpose of the contest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I would like to suggest everybody do at this point, once we're finished here today and we move on to one of the final legs of the contest, which is month number 5, everybody needs to go and read the rules and regulations. There's 2 in particular that we'd like you to pay attention to. Mr. Bowman?
The first one is very obvious. You can only use one email address to enter this contest. What can be done on a lot of contests, we've found out, is that people can start adding multiple email addresses to vote for themselves. Okay? You can't do that. If we catch you doing that, you're out. You're going to be out. Why you would do that at a contest like this, as Ange said, we're helping the North and we're helping the people, is way beyond us. But you need to know that is a very important rule. Okay, there's one.
In other words, you can't have more than one account.
Just one account.
You can only have one account. And like, for people to think that our team doesn't have the resources or the know-how or the gumption to find out if you have one account or 10 account or 2 accounts or 6 accounts, you're really wrong. Just want you to know that.
We might not catch everybody, but we're going to catch some. I'm going to guarantee you we're going to catch some. Okay? So anyways, yeah, that's a very important rule. I mean, let's remember that everybody says you click the little check mark that says you read the rules, hopefully at least the first time you did it. You know what I mean? But you got to keep reading the rules, because as Ange said, because of stuff like this, we can change the rules anytime we want. Okay? And if we find nefarious shit going on out there, okay, we're not going to be happy and we're going to change. So,
number 2 rule, and we worked with this at the very beginning because we were told by the legal team, hey, you know what, you better cover your asses here and make sure that, because there's a finite amount of money and trips that can be given away, make sure that, you spread it properly through as many people as you can and eliminate one person or a group of people getting all the trips. We said, well, that's not going to happen. I mean, after all, who in their right mind, if they won a trip, would try and win another one? I mean, it doesn't make sense to us, but that's because we're dumb and we're naive. But thank God that the legal people saw fit to put mechanisms in place that we could protect ourselves against that. So one of the other rules that has been steadily evolving throughout the course of the contest is just that. It started out with you can only win once, and then you're out of the whole contest. And that wasn't enough. That had to be modified, amended to only one winner per household per contest, and that wasn't good enough. And then it had to be modified to once you're connected to a trip, you're out. You can't keep trying to win more. So, all of that to say that we're not going to make a big deal of all of these. And listen, I don't want anybody to think that we're pointing fingers at anyone in particular, because it's not one particular person. We've been dealing with this from day one on a surprisingly large scale. And we don't want you to think that we're looking at this as something. It is illegal in a sense because it's against our rules and regulations, but we just think that's morally wrong. Bottom line, it goes against the spirit of this contest. And so we're doing everything we can to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's the bottom line.
There you go. It's well said.
All right.
Don't cheat, people. Read the rules and don't cheat. Damn it.
Yeah, reading the rules is what's important.
Tony, you can bite me. How's that?
All right. Anything else we need to cover on that?
No, let's get to these. Let's get to our lovely winner. They've been waiting long enough. They've been working a whole month. They're getting their beautiful prize package. Hopefully, they haven't won before. So no, let's get to it. Let's get at it. Let's bring it on.
All right. This month's and these are in no particular order.
Yeah, we gotta go. We have to go first, second, third, fourth, fifth because of the wheel, right?
Right. Okay, because of the wheel. I keep forgetting that damn wheel got me in trouble a couple times now.
I know. So,
all right. Winner number one with the biggest tally in the group. The story was titled "Cod Fishing" of all things.
Cod jigging. Cod jigging. I love it.
Kathleen Robinson wrote, "The first day my dad took us to Newfoundland to meet his family, we learned how to hand jig for cod from the boat. At 45, my love for fishing lives on, and Northern Ontario is a great place to do it."
You got that right, Kathleen.
Is that? So congratulations, Colleen, and we believe that she might be with us. Kathleen, sorry. Hi, Kathleen. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. Congratulations.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Your hard work paid off for sure. Very quickly, in their picture, people can't see it. Very quickly, tell people how you jig for cod out in Newfoundland.
So you use a really massive hook with clear mono line on a piece of slab of wood, and you put a dead minnow, big one on it, drop her down and jig away.
That's about it, right? That's a great explanation, Kathleen. It's just I want people to understand that it's not even, there's no rod and reel involved or anything. It gets basically a piece of wood with a couple of notches and they wrap the line around, and it's the most primitive yet fun way of catching codfish. It's so cool and so much fun. If you ever get the chance, and there's still, it's obviously legalities in codfishing right there, you got to try it sometimes. So that's excellent.
So safe to assume, Kathleen, that your roots go back to Newfoundland?
Yeah. So my mom likes Newfoundland men. So my biological and stepdad are both from Newfoundland, different parts. So sorry, Mom, because I know she's watching. So
Hi,
that picture was on the southern shore, south of St. John's. His family is from a town called Witless Bay. And that was on Gatherall's boat tours that takes you out and does whale watching and cod jigging. And funny thing is, in 2018, when he passed away, we actually took his ashes back there, and a group of my girlfriends came with me, and we chartered a boat and went out and cod jigged for the day. And the only male on the boat was the captain. It was a boat full of women cod jigging, and we did amazing.
That's awesome. Good for you.
And by the way, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Excellent. Perfect. This is a
So-
perfect birthday present for you. This is awesome.
Actually, it is. It's awesome. So we try to do a northern trip every year, and with COVID, we have been not been able to. So this is awesome.
Excellent.
Well, we're thrilled to death that you allowed us to be a part of that birthday gift to you. How's that?
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. So the only thing left at this point, first of all, how much experience do you have with trips into Northern Ontario?
So bucket list trip for me was Lake of the Woods, which I did in 2018.
Nice.
We've done Wawa, we've done Chapleau.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
but
you
we do
covered it well. That's not bad.
So normally we just, if we're fishing local, it would be like a Georgian Bay, Parry Sound kind of weekend type deal. But the week-long trips, we try and go as far north as we can.
Good
Super.
stuff.
So bring on Lax Soul, baby. Bring it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, there's only one thing left, Kathleen. We know that you are going on a trip. We just don't know where. So why don't we change that right now?
Perfect.
Nikki?
Spin that wheel, brother. Packwash Lake Camp. I don't know if we've been there before, Ange. Have we?
It sounds, you know what? Sometimes it's hard for us to recall. It sounds familiar. I'm sure somebody will point it out to us here in a minute. Calvin will probably be right.
Oh, for sure. Kathleen's looking it up right now. I can tell. Anyways, Kathleen, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I would just want to give, if I can do one shout out to my guys at RCA Fishing for all the votes. And
awesome.
For my local tackle shop, Kingsway, Colin, he's been helping me as well with the votes. And Fishing Canada Fan Club, yay, guys. Thank you for all your help. And you guys, as well as the lodges, for really offering this up for people that maybe can't, don't get the chance to do this. It's really awesome.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Good job on all the hard work, Kathleen. Well done.
Thank you.
See ya.
Kathleen Robinson, winner number 1 this month.
Cod jigging. I love it.
Cod jigging, baby.
Yes.
This one is yours, Peter.
Oh my God. This is the one with the essay. Do I have to read the whole thing, Ange? Okay.
Entirely up to you, buddy.
Well, I don't even have his full name here myself because on this sheet of paper.
Barry Malone.
Barry Malone. Okay. Fishing with a buddy. I'll try and do the best I can, but this is a pretty long piece here. My parents were never big on teaching my brothers and I how to fish, so I self-taught myself through trial and error. Periodically, my friends and I would go fishing in the river behind our home. Typically, we'd catch carp, suckers, and on a rare occasion, bass. As we got older, we learned to drive and expanded our fishing locations. On one particular occasion, we drove to Bayfield, where we fished the Bayfield River. Awesome. I know that area. We had no idea what kind of fish were there. What's that?
No, you don't.
I thought, yeah, I do. Isn't Bayfield on the Georgian on the peninsula?
This is Bayfield, not Bayfield on.
No, on the Huron Peninsula. On the Huron Peninsula. May I continue?
Just bring him on. Bring
Barry
on.
Bring him on. The story's so freaking long. Me and Barry can tell us the story.
Hey, Bear.
Good day, gentlemen.
Good day, sir. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you.
Thank God Angelo interrupted me because I didn't want to finish your whole essay there if I didn't have to. You know what I mean? I went to Napanee High School, and reading wasn't really up there too high for me. You know what I mean?
Bayfield, for your purposes, is just north of Grand Bend.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And they have this river, and a buddy and I wanted to go fishing one day, so we spent a Saturday. We headed out, and not knowing what we were going to catch. And the salmon ended up biting on mine, and I had no idea it was a salmon. I didn't even know we were going to catch a salmon. And running up and down the shore, trying to keep my line on because I didn't have a strong test for the particular salmon that I had on. Yeah. And tired them out and dragged them ashore. And that was that's when I really got hooked on fishing. And it just, there's certain things in life that just click, and that particular salmon got me hooked, and I've been an avid fisher person since.
That's a great story.
And Barry, how long ago was that?
Oh, you trying to age me now?
No, no.
That would have been 1974, 5, 6, somewhere in there.
And
nice.
I'll bet
we were in high school.
I'll bet you can remember every last detail about that experience. I'll bet you remember. You see the picture in your mind, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, friends will always remember me running up and down the bank of the river because they were just chuckling because they thought, oh, yeah. I was trying to make it out bigger than it was.
Little did they know what a salmon moves like in a river.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because it's an extraordinary thing that happens to those of us who get the bug and fall in love with this thing called angling. And that is that we can remember the most minute little details about little events that took place 3, 4, sometimes 5 decades ago. And yet most of us are hard pressed to remember our phone numbers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
very true.
About fishing, like Pete and I, for example, if we sit down and start recalling experiences, we will remember the color of certain jigs that we used to catch a particular fish in a particular location 30 years ago. But yet, Pete, next to me, has got the worst memory on the planet. He forgot what he had for breakfast this morning. It's crazy. Well,
you know what, though? I got to say that is a bad example you gave there, because all we throw is black blue jigs, so it doesn't really, can't really. We're doing that for 35 years. What the hell?
Bound to catch something.
Yeah.
Barry, what's your experience as far as traveling into the remote parts of Ontario?
I have never fished Northern Ontario.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
So it was on the bucket list and just dying to go. We don't care where. We just would like to enjoy that experience.
Well said, Barry. That is so
buddy.
fantastic to hear.
And
that
who's the we?
My better half.
Attaboy.
She loves fishing as well.
You better mention her by name, or there might be some.
Yes. Well, Jane Hornell, and her family's had a cottage in the Georgian Bay, Parry Sound area for over 100 years. So I practice my fishing there, and we enjoy fishing so much so. And there's so many breeds of fish that we can catch there: bass, pike, salmon. So we just enjoy being out in the wild.
Only one thing left to do, buddy, is figure out where you're going.
Sounds like a good thing.
All right, Nicky.
Nick Nolte, where are you? Attaboy.
Let's see what he's got up his sleeve.
Let's see what he's got it rolling. Here we go. Where she stops, nobody knows. Round and round. Garden Island Lodge. Garden Island Lodge. Garden Island Lodge. Is that where we're going this fall, Ange?
I think it might be.
I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. And there's some giant walleye, if I'm not mistaken, in that spot. Like, man, giant.
That's a great trip.
Well, I'll have fun nabbing a few of those.
You do, my friend. You do. That is great news, Barry.
Listen, the only thing we ask from you, Barry, is to keep us informed. Make sure you take lots of photographs. Write some stuff for us while you're there. Share those experiences with us and all the rest of the folks on the site, and bring back some great memories for us, would you?
I shall do that, gentlemen. And thank you very much for putting this on. And I know it's a task to get done between yourselves, the Fishing Canada group, and Nato, and all the shout out to all the other fellow fisher people here that enjoy it just as much as we do.
Perfect.
Thank you, my friend.
Have fun.
Thank you very much.
See you, Barry.
All right.
That is 2 down. Yes, that's 2 down.
3. I have to tell you something about number 3 before we even tell you who it is. I have to tell you something about number 3, and it's one that I have secretly been rooting for. I'll be honest with you. I've secretly been rooting for because
Wow.
my daughter Jocelyn pointed him out to me. I think day 2 of when we launched the contest.
Is it
And-
Reno?
I'm sorry?
Is it Reno?
No. She pointed out to me, she says, have you read the letter from so and so, and it's titled so and so? And quite honestly, I mean, it's not like I get a chance to read all of these letters unless a lot of them are pointed out to us. That's not something that, although when I have time, I will sit down and go through a bunch of them. But so anyway, so she was so moved by his first letter, and I read it and I thought, wow, this is really good. I hope he does well. And he did not do well at all. He wrote a great story. It came from the heart, and the picture was fantastic. But I think he didn't understand what it was going to take to win one of these things. He thought, build it and they will come. We'll put it up and they'll come. Well, they didn't come, and they didn't come the second month, and so on. And I was so thrilled to death when the guys pointed out who the finalists were for this month, and I was thrilled. So it's time to let him know. His name is Merv Ellis.
Merv. Nice.
Hello. What's that, Pete?
I said nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Third place goes to Merv Ellis with a pretty cool story, fondest fishing memories. He goes on to say, my fondest fishing memory as a child growing up on the shores of Crow Lake, Ontario. We know that one.
Yep.
Even though we didn't have fancy boats and big motors, we did spend many hours on the water. During the winter months, ice fishing as well. And sometimes many people would only catch a walleye or two, but the social part was as good as catching fish. Many years later, my children of my own and now grandchildren, I have many fond memories of the days fishing with my grandson, Trevor. As you can see in the picture, he learned how to tell a fishing story as good as any old timer. Please consider voting for me, and thanks for reading my story, Merv. Congratulations, Merv. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Hey, buddy.
And you brought back a lot of good stuff about the story on my first entry. Even though I put in a good story, I thought we didn't win. And the second time, we come close, and the third time we come close. And I was actually almost ready to drop out for this month. And I had family and good friends, and they said, "Oh, come on, give it another try." So all of a sudden, I decided I'm going to go and do it again. Well, here we are, and thanks to you, we're looking at third place winning.
Look at you, buddy. Persistence. Way to go, brother. That's awesome.
right. We tried to hang in there.
It's exactly perseverance. It's a pleasure meeting you. I kind of had conjured up, images of who you were and you were exactly the way I depicted you.
Is that right, eh?
Fantastic job, man. And
well,
and
you and I probably have as many years of fishing experience.
Oh, I'm sure we do. What's the background in terms of traveling for fishing experiences?
Not extremely a lot in the north. We've done a little bit on Lake Nipissing. I did a trip 10 years ago on Dog Lake, just north of Chapleau.
Yeah.
And it was actually, it was a good trip, but the fishing was kind of disappointing because we were there just after ice out.
Oh.
And the fish were hard to find.
Yeah.
But, the experience was nice. The lodge owners were perfect. You couldn't get it any better. So at some point I said, I have to do one more trip up north.
Guess what, brother? Guess what? Looky there.
So it's worked really well. Now, so I want to, before we get off track, I want to thank you personally, Fishing Canada, everyone connected with Fishing Canada, for putting this on because, without the opportunity that you've put forward, the lodge owners are suffering, and we know that. So my one of the reasons I wanted to compete was to help in that way if I could. And I think what you're doing is excellent, and everyone else that's participating in this, I think, should feel the same way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Merv. We really
you so much.
appreciate the kind words. They're always welcome for sure. And you know, and I'm glad you said that, because we started this program today with trying to articulate the intent of the contest once again, in case people had forgotten why we're doing it.
That's right.
And it's so it's great when it works. Let's put it that way. It's very rewarding when it works, and when it doesn't work, we get a little pissed off, but that's life, right?
Well, hopefully things work out, good, and we get the lodges opened up again. And we do a lot of local fishing. I can say that within the last week, I've been out 3 times. So, and we've been quite successful. So
Good. Good for you.
As you call, I grew up calling them pickerel, and we now call them walleye.
Hey,
We can argue that to day one.
You know what? That's going to be an ongoing one forever, Merv. So
it sure is. Well, I appreciate. We've been watching your show as long as I can remember.
Okay. Let's not get carried away. You just said you and I were about the same age, so
yes, but we're both just young fellas.
All right.
Couple of young puppies.
Okay.
Hey, Merv, I'm glad you brought something up, because I'd like to just quickly, I know we have to move on and the guys are all pointing at me here and telling me to move on, but I want to go back to something you just said that's really important.
Yes.
And that is that it doesn't matter where you go to fish. It can be the most remote part of the world, a place where no human being has ever been before.
True.
And you can still have a tough day fishing.
That's right. That's right.
It happens.
We've had them. We've had days when it's been tough, but you know what? We've taken our grandkids out over the years, and when my grandkids were old enough to hold a fishbowl, we went and bought them all a good fishbowl, and we spent time fishing and so on. So we would go to a cottage every year, and kids would come at different times. The family would come, and sometimes you'd catch fish, sometimes you wouldn't, but it all was the social part, right?
Yep.
That's what we did it for.
For sure.
Hey, there's only one thing left, my friend. Do you know what that is, right?
Well, we'd like to find out something.
Let's
all right,
go.
Nikki, let's go.
Woo.
Uh-oh.
Nick,
I guess you're not going anywhere. Oh, there it is.
There we go. Wish we had some sound effects for this thing.
I know what happened to Eagle Lake?
Oh, we have been there.
My God.
We have been there. So that's
Eagle
Northwestern Ontario. That's Northwestern Ontario, Merv, and it's the Eagle Lake is synonymous. Obviously, it's a world-class muskie fishery, but everything unfortunately gets pushed aside because the muskie is so popular there. There's great walleye, great pike, and great smallmouth as well. Fantastic. And there's some whitefish that go to the other end of the lake from Eagle Lake Land.
Whitefish.
Now, what area is that in?
Dryden, Ontario.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know.
You're way up there, buddy. You're way up. You're getting toward the edge there.
Yeah, I was in Dryden once. That was it.
Oh, is that right? Well, you're going again.
Okay, very good, and thank you very much. I really do appreciate everything you've done to put this together.
You're quite welcome, my friend. I'm so glad you won, buddy. I'm so glad you won.
Well, I liked it when you said about the story, but you try, and finally we came up with it. Eh?
Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
It was my family and a lot of friends that stuck by it and persevered in the long run.
Beautiful.
Make sure you fill us in on your trip, will you, my friend?
Oh, definitely will. And I'm not that far down the road from your place, so we could meet and have coffee or something.
Love to do it, man. Absolutely.
That would be great. Thanks you very much.
Congratulations, buddy.
Bye for.
Wow, Eagle Lake Lodge.
Yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place, man. Good for him. Good for him.
All right, you're up, buddy.
Okay, 4th place. Now you got to remember here, Angelo, I have no names in my paperwork here. So it, unfortunately, like I would say, Race Mom would be the winner here, but I don't know the real name, identity.
The title of the story is My First 50-Incher?
That's correct. That is the one.
Okay. Do you have the story?
I have the story.
Why don't you read the
Fishing
story
on-
and then I'll give the name out.
Fishing on Lake St. Clair with Mike Hauser, and I was using my pink Thirsty Lure. Thirsty Lure is Frank Thurston, the guy in Peterborough who makes these lures. We met Frank on a shoot. He's a great guy. When this beauty 50.5-inch fish chomped on it. I may have been lying down and possibly napping at the time, so the story goes. So you know that's true, okay? But you may have been, we'll just say. What a beauty. Yeah, it was the fish that got me hooked on muskie. It was one of 3 that bit the pink lure that weekend. That is fantastic. Susan Sponga. Sponga?
Sponga.
Sponga? How are you, Susan?
Hi, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before we move on, this how this is all the luck of the draw with the lodges. You know that, okay?
Yeah.
But how appropriate would it have been if you and Merv had switched places and you had gotten that?
I am a multi-species angler, so
Good.
like in 2020, I caught 29 different species in Ontario.
What the?
Yeah.
It'd be good for you.
Okay.
So
All right.
I
Tell
would,
us.
in my glory, if it was a musky lake, but I am quite happy with any lake.
Super.
Did you
Well
go
said.
on that mission to get all these
Yeah.
species?
So
Tell
for
us
a,
about it.
so for a lot of years, I was doing the CFN fish off, which kind of forced you to target the micro species. So any fish 8 inches or bigger. So once you start doing that, the last few years, I've made the top 10 and I think the top 5 last year for the fish off. So you're always catching multi-species. So then I kind of expanded it. I do a lot of fishing on my own. Last year, I headed up to Timmins and targeted sturgeon. I have a friend, Terry, that was living up there. He's actually moving on me, but I did a road trip on my own up to Timmins and got my 19 sturgeon in 2 days fishing from shore. But yeah, I love targeting any species. I would say that muskie and salmon are my top ones that I love to fish for right now. But pretty much any species makes me happy. This week is the start of my holidays, and I am fishing on Erie on Monday, and then I'm heading from there to Ottawa, and I'm fishing with Bill Craig
Nice.
on the Ottawa River for a couple days, and then Matthew Chase for 1 day on the Ottawa River.
Wow.
And then I'm coming back and I'm fishing St. Clair for 2 days for muskie too. So
Look at you. Are you on the Ottawa? Are you going for muskie only or anything? Does it matter? Or
muskie, yeah.
Oh, look at you. Well, you know,
Yeah.
you did it right, because Ottawa River, although it's a fantastic fishery, it's a little tough. Lake St. Clair is the best muskie lake, in my opinion, in the world. That is like
Never fished the Ottawa River, so it's going to be
it's
all
good. When you get on it, and the fish there are the river fish, so they're awesome. And when you get onto it, you're going to get something there. You're going to have fun for sure.
So I have to explain the story around my childhood. So as a kid, I did not fish. My dad took me a couple times smelt fishing under the Burlington Bridge. And that was really the limit of my fishing as a child. So about, what was it, maybe 6 years ago, I left my husband and I needed a hobby of my own. And I just started fishing on my own 6 years ago. And I've done 6 years fishing, 4 years ice fishing, and I am hooked. I get 6 weeks vacation a year, and it's all focused around fishing.
And prior to this, there was no real connection to it at all?
Nothing.
Who's your boss,
all
by the way, giving you 6 weeks vacation? That's what I want to know.
I'm old. I'm 52. I've worked for the same company for 30 years, so I have lots of vacation.
Okay.
All right. What made you decide to embrace fishing? What that moment? I want to know that second you said, yes, I'm going to make it my life's passion from this day forward. What triggered that?
Well, when I moved out on my own, I couldn't find a place. So I moved to a place called Emerald Lake in Pushledge.
Okay.
And it's just this little small man-made lake with like trampolines and playthings in it. And there was like just small panfish in there. And I just started fishing on my own, having no clue what I'm doing, but I've had so many mentors along the way. I joined Mississauga Bassmasters. I joined Ontario Women Anglers, Great Canadian Female Anglers. I joined KW Muskie Club. And there's just been so many people that helped get me out on the water. I have invites. I'm so privileged and so lucky to have so many friends in the fishing world that get me out all the time.
Wow.
Monday, I'm fishing with the Canadian Fishing Network, Scotty Martin's team.
Yeah.
We're taking a group of people out on Erie, and that's what I'm part of on Monday. So
You are
Good for
hardcore,
you.
girl. That is awesome.
lucky.
Good for you.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Great story. Great job at winning one of these events, by the way. Fantastic job, because we know it's not easy. It
No.
takes work. And hats off to you. There's only one thing left for us to kind of figure out here, Susan, and that would be, where exactly are you going?
Where I'm going and who I'm going with. I'm
Oh,
Let's have a look. Here we go.
Butterfly, Nick. Here we go. Multi-species Susan. Doesn't matter where. This is awesome. Ooh.
What's it say? What's it say?
Oh, I've heard of this one.
I have not.
This is up north too, I think. Well, they're all up north, but this one,
I've not heard of it.
I've read a few things about this lodge. I think it's a good one. Oh, they're all good ones.
They're all good.
Yeah, they're all good ones. So
I don't know about it. I'll have to learn.
look it up, Susan.
I did Old Ricky Lodge last June. Up that's about the furthest I've gone up north.
I think this might be further. I think this one's up there. I think you're gonna have some fun.
Make sure we get lots of pictures. Document the trip for us.
I will.
Tell us the ups and downs, the good, the bad, everything we want that you could possibly give us, please, when you either during or when you come back.
I will for sure. There's no doubt. I love my pictures.
All right.
Awesome. Congrats, Susan.
Thanks, guys, and to thanks Lori from Noto and all the lodges for doing this for us. Thanks to all my friends and family for voting, RCA people for voting for me, KW Muskie for voting for me. I appreciate it all.
Nice.
Thank
well
you.
done.
You take care.
Thanks.
Susan Spogna.
What a great way to start your holidays, right there, eh? Good for her.
I still can't get my head around that. She dumps the old man. She dumps the old man and then takes up fishing for the first time in her life.
You see that? If her husband was a fisherman, that might have been different. But now you got to have fishing in your life. This is the best, man. It's the best sport. Like Teddy Putnam said there, I don't have 29 friends.
And knowing Teddy, I believe him.
Oh, God. That's excellent. Good
By the way, Teddy that we keep referring to is the owner of, I don't mind saying it, one of the top operations in the country, never mind Ontario and Northwestern Ontario, called Hawk Lake Lodge. And if you ever get the chance, he's in this contest, so he could be on the wheel here and come up next. But if you ever get a chance to check it out, it's called Hawk Lake Lodge. It's the most extraordinary operation that you will ever set your eyes on. And the fishing there, I know we keep bragging about it and we keep talking about it, but there aren't enough words to describe how spectacular it is. So if you ever get a chance to visit it, man, oh man, jump all over it. Don't delay. All right, winner number 5. Hang on, I've got some breaking news. It's got to be breaking because it's being hand delivered here live. Okay, so our next winner will not be with us live. So we'll have to play the role of the next winner, Peter.
Yeah, we've done that before. We thought it would be the first today with everybody being live. So normally we don't have 2 or 3. So
the name of the story that this gentleman, it's a guy, submitted is Triple Header. And the story is, I love fishing. Great way to get away from the hustle of everyday life, either on boat or just offshore. Thank you for your vote. That's important. This triple header is my fondest memory. No kidding. Look at that.
Now, you know what? When I looked at this picture right here, I got a good feeling, a really strong feeling that Susan and Jay fished the same lake. I think that's Lake St. Clair again.
It
Those
is.
fish,
You can tell by the fish.
yeah, exactly. Well, first off, a triple header doesn't happen anywhere else for muskie. And
Yeah.
the lake looks like that, and the fish look exactly like St. Clair spotted muskie. You know what I mean? They all
Yeah.
look like that. So I'm pretty
They're
sure.
very distinctive, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
in fifth place, by now you all know because it's up on the screen, is Jay McCormack, who for some reason he was supposed to be here today, but could not attend with us. So we're going to play the role of Peter. You're going to be Jay McCormack. So
All right.
where would you like to fish, Jay?
Well, Angelo, thanks for asking that question. See, I've done Lake St. Clair already, so I'm hoping I don't get Lake St. Clair, but anywhere else in this beautiful province of Ontario, in this northern area of Ontario, to me is just amazing. Angelo, I love you. Pete, not so much, but I love you, Angelo, Fishing Canada, and the DNO and the Noto and all the tourism people. I love you all, so thank you. Let's just get that damn wheel spinning, please, can we?
All right, Nikki, you heard it. Let's get her spun. Let's see where Jay McCormack is going.
J-Mac. That's right in the middle. No. Kingfisher Resort. Kingfisher Resort. Again, one we have not been to.
Not ring a bell at all. That doesn't right. I mean, there's only 1,200, almost 1,300 operators in Ontario.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. But people think we know them all. No, we don't. Congratulations, Jay. Kingfisher Resort. Look it up. I'm sure you're going to see this online. We'll notify you. Our guys here will notify you as for your fifth place winning prize. And well done, buddy. Good work.
So in closing, congratulations to all of this month's winners. Sorry we had to start out on a bit of a negative edge there, but
well, you know what, you got to straighten things out. If people are bending, pushing, doing anything in the negative, we need to bring it to the forefront, right? So
and to take it to full circle, I just want to remind folks that after we're done with this is the last month. We're going to tell you what the theme of the contest here is in a moment, but this is the last month of the event that you actually have to earn your victory. The next step on this is that we will, depending on the budget that's left over in the kitty after the next 5 winners pull out their lodge experiences, depending on what's left, we're going to have a series of random draws. So anybody at that point who has voted on the platform, the contest platform, anybody who has entered on the contest platform that has not won or associated with a victory will be eligible to win. Anybody that doesn't fit into that will not be in the draw.
So you got a chance, everybody. You still got chances. You still have chances.
That's correct. Okay, now we need to know.
What's our theme? What's our theme for the last round?
That's what I was just going to throw out there. I think I know what it is, but I thought the boys would give it to me in writing so I could read it. They probably have, but I got so much damn paperwork.
What is your craziest fishing story? It's right there in front of you, Angelo.
Oh, sorry.
I think Jay's going to start liking Pete better than Ange now. If you keep this up, okay?
Who does? Jay? Is that you, Jay? Is that you, Jay?
You don't have to call me Jay. You can call me Ray, or you can call me Ronnie. Okay.
All right. So, in simple terms, for the last leg of the contest, we need to know what is your craziest, wackiest, most unusual fishing story. Now, because it's not outlined here in front of you, I would ask the question, does it have to be a story that I was involved in? Fair question to ask, right?
Sure.
Because it says, what is your craziest fishing story? I would assume, before it gets asked, I would assume that it needs to be your story. So you were either there, it happened to you, but you experienced it. You need to be connected to the story. It's your craziest, wackiest fishing story. Doesn't necessarily have to be.
What if there's dad or something? Maybe it's your dad or something. Could they say their dad? Like if it was a direct relative, maybe? No, it has to be them.
It's
You know
your
what?
story. So if yeah, it could be your dad, it could be your neighbor. I don't give a damn who is there, but it's your story. In other words, you didn't read this in a newspaper, and it happened in Southampton Beach, North Carolina, to somebody else. It's something that you are connected to. Let's put it that way. You need to be connected somehow to the story. But it's the wackiest, craziest fishing story, not necessarily fish catching, but fishing story. Is that fair?
Well, I got one that would win hands down, but I can't say it. You know what I mean? It's a good one. I should enter this con. Can I enter this one?
Well, you know what? Based on some of the stuff we've seen in the last couple of months, you might as well.
Good one. Oh God,
You might as well try. What the
good
hell?
one. Oh well.
All right.
Okay, everybody. And one more thing, everybody. Maybe take a couple of minutes and read the rules again. Just one more time before this all starts again. Read the rules. And as long as you're within all the parameters of the rules, you're golden. You're good to go.
All right.
That's it.
Good luck to everybody. I want to wish all of you all the best wherever you are. It's a weekend upon us. Let's take advantage. And as we come out of our caves in the weeks and months to come, enjoy it. And let's be safe and healthy. And we will talk to you very soon. Good luck to you.